Grenada will soon have a new Minister for Information. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, October 29th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Effective November 1st, 2019, Minister for Education, Human Resource Development and Religious Affairs, the Honorable Emmeline Pear, will become the new Minister for Information. It is the only portfolio change announced this week. All other portfolios will remain the same. Senator Honorable Winston Garwe, who was the Minister with responsibility for disaster management and information in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries, Disaster Management and Information, maintains responsibility for disaster management. Grenada's economy will be significantly impacted with the expected increase in cruise ship calls during the winter tourist season from 2021. Minister for Tourism and Civil Aviation, the Honorable Clarice Modeste Kerwin, who recently returned from a meeting of the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, the FCCA, in Puerto Rico, says a number of cruise lines have already given their commitment.
With Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, we have in 2019, the winter which starts in 2019, we have 19 calls expected. In 2020, we'll be getting 29 calls, so an increase of by 10, which is significant for us. Carnival, we'll remember some years ago, Carnival pulled out. We have been caught in Carnival because they're the biggest cruise lines. They have another of sub lines that work with them. I think maybe something like 9 or more. And they have committed to starting back pretty big with us from January 2021 to April 2022. They'll be doing 12 calls, and their capacity is 2,656 passengers, and the crew capacity is 920. We'll be getting 12 of those calls, and depending on how we play our game, the numbers will certainly increase.
The minister says her team also engaged Virgin Voyages on adding the destination to their itinerary.
MSC Cruise Lines, in the winter of 2021 to 2022, they'll be doing an increase of 10 calls for us. And we also engage Virgin Voyages, which is linked with the Virgin Airlines, but not managed by them. They are looking at including us in their itinerary. They have just started into cruise. So they'll be doing the shorter cruise initially and, working their way through. But they have committed to look at Grenada for 2021-2022.
Minister Modeste Kerwin says cruise lines are also embarking on PPPs in the Caribbean and follow-up talks will continue. Carriacou has not been left out of the discussions, and a commitment was made by Holland America Group of 10 calls to Carriacou in 2020. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Did you join the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and have since retired? This might be important to you. Government understands that the NIS pension may be insufficient to take care of your needs. So, while it awaits the court's ruling on the matter of pension for public officers, government has taken action to protect your quality of life so that you can take care of your needs in the meantime. Persons who joined the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and serve continuously in an established position for a minimum 26 years and 8 months and retired at age 60 may be eligible to receive an advance payment, which when combined with NIS represents 70% of their last salary. For more information, call or visit the Pension Secretariat in the Department of Public Administration, Ministerial Complex, 440-3767.
Continuing the news, increase in investments, visitor arrivals and export earnings. Some of the expected benefits of Grenada's participation in Expo 2020, which began on October 20th and runs until April 2021. Grenada has launched its promotional campaign titled On the Road to Dubai Expo 2020. During the weekly post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, Minister for International Business, the Honorable Nicholas Steele, said the International Expo holds tremendous benefits for this country.
Expo 2020 Dubai begins October 21st, 2020. And the other significant date for us, or the most significant date for us, is the Grenada Day. Grenada Day is January 15th, 2021. This expo is the first expo that is going to straddle a Christmas or holiday period as well, which presents for itself numerous opportunities and challenges. It is also the first expo that Grenada has its own pavilion. Our pavilion is approximately 2,200 square feet, already constructed. I saw it last month when we had a site inspection. We will continue to be monitoring the inspection of the site. The interior of the pavilion was designed through a competition here, designed by Grenadians, for Grenadians, we can say.
A local organizing committee has been put in place to plan the Grenada leg of the event. It will include a national day on January 15, 2021, and a pavilion designed to showcase everything uniquely Grenadian. The Grand Etang Rainforest, Chelsea Flower Show, underwater sculpture, cuisine, culture, arts, among others. To date, 15 manufacturing enterprises have confirmed their participation in the expo, and there is room for more.
We also have partnered with one of the restaurant providers in the pavilion this time, and they are going to be visiting Grenada, and they will be, at that restaurant, will be selling Grenadian product or a Grenadian menu. They are coming to Grenada to try as best as possible to use as much as possible of our local produce, but most definitely it will be our local recipes that will be used. We also engage members of the Hotel Association, Restaurant and Hotel Association, through the Hotel Association, for them to volunteer to participate. So there's also an opportunity for a chef to travel to Dubai on Grenada Day to present, as well as an artist.
Minister Steele highlighted, however, some of the challenges that the organizing committee is being faced with regarding the display of Grenadian products at the expo.
There are some logistical challenges because you have to remember Dubai is one, it's an Islamic country, and two, it is a desert environment in terms of very hot. And our produce in general, or quite a lot of our produce, is either alcohol or chocolate based. Both of those are challenges that we are working around. We have found relatively acceptable solutions. That is one of the reasons why we also went and partnered with a restaurant provider there within the expo, because alcohol cannot be sold directly in the pavilions, but can be sold at the restaurants. So the fact that we have a Grenada restaurant there, while we're not managing it because we don't have those resources, or so, it will be selling or can sell our alcoholic products there. At the pavilion, unlike other expos, you can't give out sample bottles. You can give sample tastes of alcohol or chocolate or so in the pavilion, in our pavilion, but you can't give out the small bottles.
Grenada's theme for the expo is Grenada enhancing its environment through the movement of its people, culture, products, and services. And finally, the Morris Bishop International Airport is boasting of continued success as it celebrates the 35th anniversary of its official opening. A Thanksgiving service and award ceremony was held on Monday at the airport formerly known as the Point Saline International Airport, which was constructed with assistance from the government and people of Cuba. General Manager of the Grenada Airports Authority, Mrs. Wendy Francet Williams, says from the GAA's standpoint, they have been succeeding over the years.
This milestone today of being in operations for 35 years is commendable, and the GA as an entity is grateful for the support from government and all its stakeholders for its achievement over the last 35 years. But one thing we must boast about, I don't like the word boast, but one thing we can say at this point in time is that we have been profitable over the last 6 years, and consistently so as a government entity.
28 stalwarts were recognized for their dedication to the airport for their services of 30 to 35 years. Among the recipients were the supporting agencies of the airport. Mrs. Williams expressed her gratitude to the staff of the GAA and assures them that improvements will be made in various departments.
To the staff of the GAA and airport community, thank you for the human services we all have provided to attain such an achievement. And as we move ahead, the airport will continue to press on with the development and enhancement of its runway system and supporting airfield infrastructure, improve traffic flow, terminal services and infrastructure, and boost customer service to all our stakeholders.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
If you think safety rules are a pain, try having an accident. Drive safely. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Hope rides on the rays of the sun here. So too does the resilience of the people. But in the battle against climate change, will hope and resilience be enough when the lives of those who contribute the least feel the brunt of its effects?
For us here in the Caribbean, climate change and its devastating impacts are our new normal.
Hope is still the strongest currency in these parts. But a devaluation of life can come if the world sells the people short. With the realities of modern times, forever no longer has the same currency it had a generation ago.
Rolling on the way through my journey, I got a triple OG sitting right beside me. This old man, he played four, he playing knick-knack on my door. Raises a white noise, light up the world. Here we go, and I follow the sun, 'cause it's bright on the other side of my window.
In Grenada, like in many places in the Caribbean, there are continuing concerns about rising temperatures and the increasing frequency of storms.
In growing up as a young girl on the Carriacou, the changes, I always tell them the major change started with Hurricane Janet, September. September is a very terrible month for Grenada with hurricanes. Price of progress is always very high. And to me, the whole environmental problem in the Caribbean and in particular in Grenada come with the price of progress.
The country was devastated, almost complete devastation. In some villages, first of all, every village in Dominica, every street, every cranny, every person in Dominica was impacted by the hurricane.
Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Say from a king to a queen, I say come let me reap the rewards of your labor, go on if you dream.
Good morning to Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name, Sheldon Scott, will be taking you up until the 12 o'clock hour. It is now 23 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada, with the final Thursday in the month of October, and indeed the final day of the month of October 2019.
I know you are the queen of the kingdom, you never forsake none of we. And the dream is to work so hard.
We'd like to say a special good morning to all the listeners listening via the various radio stations. Those of you in Brooklyn listening via 94.9. Yeah, We Noise Radio.
You are the one that hold me. You are the roots that tell me.
Digitally.
Well, my temper was your con.
Yeah, you can listen to We Noise Radio digitally just using your different devices.
Things get out of hand.
Ask Alexa for We Noise Radio. You'll be able to listen Hard Talk there or Google Talk. All of those devices, you know. These days you have technology where you speak to it and you tell it what to do and it does it, eh? Also saying a special good morning to those of you in Carriacou, Petite Martinique, the Grenadine Islands, the northern part of Grenada, and online listening via Sister Isle FM. 92.9, broadcasting from beautiful Hillsborough in Carriacou.
Love your body, won't wait till you depart. Say this one's from my heart, say from a king to a queen.
All listeners via 94.9.
What are your labor, go on if you dream.
92.9, and now all listeners via CitysoundFM 97.5.
Dream is to work so hard and make my money.
They're broadcasting in traditional, historical River Road, St. George.
Now to all the mothers out there, I salute you with a fan.
Special good morning to all of you listening via that medium.
Every morning.
Also have the online for City Sound FM as well. They've got their website. So that's how a lot of you connect outside of Grenada.
Definition of a man. You great. Stand and take a bow.
And CRFM, pound for pound radio, community radio on your frequency modulated 89.5.
Lies in my hand, pen to paper.
Often imitated but never duplicated.
You've been driving all of us. Now I'm saluting on behalf of all.
Yeah, you just have to look for the 89.5 on your dial. So you say a special good morning to all of the listeners via the various radio stations. Those of you listening online via www.hardtalkgrenada.com. CitysoundFM.com. Yeah, you can see and hear via that medium.
Tears of this one is for my babe. You play your part.
And those of you listening via Facebook,
Your part. Yes,
yeah, those of you on Hard Talk Grenada Live,
my babe.
good morning to you, Sonia. I see that you're in. To Neil, Kathleen, Louisa. I see you all there this morning. So I say a special good morning to you all, Lucilia. Remember to like and share the video.
I know you are the queen.
Final day for October, huh?
Man, that make my mother happy. The sons of you, mommy. Now to all the mothers out there, I salute you with a fanfare. On your knees,
Keeping it nice and mellow.
pumping the blessings in there. Not once I saw you in fear. You were the shield that tell me in check. True definition of a man. You great, stand and take a bow. Hooray, confetti start come out just for you, mom. It's a celebration and you know. Man, the blueprint to this lies in my hand. Pen to paper. I know you are the engineer, been driving all of us. Now I'm saluting on behalf of all. This one is for my man.
Yeah, Tobago is in the house. Good morning to you, Chad. Hope you're having a wonderful one this morning, man.
It's for my man. All the queens.
And those of you, yeah, listening and watching via YouTube, yeah, the YouTube looking good. Nice.
Let me reap the rewards of your labor. Say from a king to a queen.
It's a long time I ain't do this. Yeah, you know, it's a long time I ain't do that, eh? And all you know it mean when I drag that bench, eh? Yeah.
12 years old, I remember what.
And all you know it mean when I drag the bench?
I said the next time you cry, it has to be tears of this one is for my babe. You play your part and you still playing your part. Yes, I love you from my heart, boy. My babe.
I've been listening to radio stations this morning, and just before I continue, just to let you all know, the phone numbers 440-7377. That's 440-7377. And for those of you outside of Grenada who are listening in North America, whether you're in Canada or the US, it counts as a local call. You can call 347-329-3101. You can also WhatsApp us on 440-7377, yeah?
You with a fanfare on your knees every morning, pumping the blessings in there. Not once I saw you in fear. You were the shield that tell me in check. True definition of a man. You great, stand and take a bow. Hooray, confetti start come out just for you, mom. It's a celebration.
You know, I've been listening to discussions on radio this morning and during the week.
Pen to paper.
You know, some days I'm in studio, some days I'm out of studio. Like yesterday, I wasn't in studio. I was moving around, getting one or two things done. And in and between, you'll be seeing that, eh? So you might see me on, you see Miss Duncan, then you see me, you know, yeah, in and between. I was having the discussion in relation to a presentation that was made on Sunday at the National Convention of the New National Party. And I'm still trying to understand, because the thing is this, the voices that I hear that are so in indignation against the presentation made by the NIS at the convention of the New National Party just so happen to be the voices that are always cursing everything that the New National Party or the government of Grenada does anyway.
Yes, you play.
A lie or telling the truth. It's the same voices that curse every single move the government has made. From since the government came into office in 2013 to now, these are the same group of people that have been attacking the NNP, New National Party of Grenada, and that have been attacking everything that is done by the government that they have formed. It ain't nothing that NNP can do correct for these individuals. Once it's the New National Party, they have a problem. Once it's the NNP. Yeah? So you don't expect them to agree with the NIS having a representative speak at the convention of the New National Party. And you know, they seem to forget that every single person sitting in there pays NIS too. Yeah. It is not because you're an NNPite you're not paying NIS. You, as a worker in the state of Grenada, are paying and have been paying and continues to pay. And just this week, as your salaries came through, paid as well. So we're trying to say that because a person is a supporter of the New National Party, they have no right to the information that is being put forward by the NIS? Have these individuals listened to the presentation that was put forward? Did they listen to what was said? Was something wrong said? Did the individual who came there, did she play partisan party politics? Did she jump onto any bandwagon and make any statements that can be construed as in support or against any political organization? Or did she come there in her capacity as one of the persons providing information from the National Insurance Scheme that I pay to, that the delegates that were there pay to, that the cabinet of ministers, the members of parliament that were there, that they pay to, that the observers that were there, they pay to, that the people who were able to listen via the radio stations or via online, they pay NIS too. So because they are supporters of the New National Party, they should be denied information. Something is wrong with providing information to members of the New National Party. If any political organization is worth its salt, it will follow exactly what the NNP has done. And it would ask the NIS to come there and provide to their people, because this is about providing information, factual information to individuals. Can these people who've been attacking, who saying it wrong, this and it wrong, the NNP can't do nothing right for you. So a long time ago, I kind of tune off. Because there's nothing, as far as they are concerned, I've never heard these voices coming there and say the party has done this, or the government has done this, and that is good. They dwell in negativity. They live in negative. That's all they can speak about. That's all they can do. They wake up in the morning and try to find another thing to attack the NNP on. And you see, what they are trying to do here is a political and technical tactic that they are attempting. Because what they want is that if the New National Party, at some other function, be it a general council, or be it a convention, or be it a village meeting, or wherever, that if the party ask a representative of any organization to come in and speak, that that person or that organization could expect to be attacked viciously and unwarranted, that that individual can expect to be attacked. That's what they're saying. Should not the Grenadian people, because the supporters of the New National Party are Grenadian citizens, they are Grenadian NIS paying citizens, they pay national insurance as well. So why should not the NIS use any and all opportunities to provide information? And it is not a case where the NIS came to the party and said, we want to come to your convention and do a presentation. It was a situation where the party said, we want to inform, empower, and educate our delegates and observers and the nation on a whole, because we will have a platform from which everyone who decides to tune into radio, and we know they tuned into the radio, and anyone who tuned in online, and we know they tuned in online, whether while it was going on or immediately after, because some of them just can't wait to know, they just had to do it right after. We know they tuned in. Did they listen to what was said? You see, there's a problem that exists within that organization. The NDC I'm speaking about here. They prefer to keep their supporters uninformed, uneducated. They will tell you what to think. That's what they prefer to do. They will not tell you, go and listen to Hard Talk. They will not tell you, listen to the NNP convention. They will not tell you those things because they want you to be uneducated in relation to issues. They want you to only believe that they are so, they have this sort of mentality amongst them that they are the most intelligent and they believe that they are the most brilliant and that they have this God-given right to an opinion that nobody else should have, that whatever they say that they are always right. Have you ever heard one of them come and apologize? Even after being exposed, have you ever heard one of these individuals go on a radio, TV program or anything and apologize after being proven wrong? Instead, they double down or they try to shift the conversation away from whatever it is that they have said, because they don't want you informed. Why is it wrong? The National Insurance Scheme have been going out there. They've been doing radio programs. They've been doing television programs. They have been doing meetings in communities, educating people in relation to the National Insurance Scheme. They've been having satellite offices popping up all over where people have been able to go and you can find out how many contributions you have made, what benefits are available through the National Insurance Scheme. Many people didn't know about things, for instance, like the maternity, paternity benefit. They didn't know about that. Or how do you apply for a sick benefit? Or funeral grants and all these sort of things. Some people only find out about these things when something happens. So the NIS has been putting out information through all and any means necessary, because each and every delegate there is a contributor to the National Insurance Scheme. And it is rude, it is disgustingly disrespectful of anyone to tell the NIS that they should not go into any forum in the state of Grenada to speak to people who contribute to the scheme. That is rude. In fact, it is quote-unquote dunce to tell the NIS that they can't go and speak to contributors. What happened? Something is wrong with the person because they are a supporter of the New National Party. They mustn't go there. They mustn't go and speak to people there. If I was the NDC, I'd be inviting them, saying, come to our convention, and since you go to the New National Party one, come to our convention now and speak to our delegates and speak to our observers and tell them about the National Insurance Scheme, so that when they're having a conversation with individuals, they can have a factual conversation in relation to the issue of the National Insurance Scheme. But you see, they oftentimes put out a lot of falsities. The NDC, they oftentimes go ahead putting out a lot of falsities in relation to the National Insurance Scheme. And they are worried that if you have the information, you're going to realize once and for all that they're lying. That's the problem, you know. The problem isn't that they went to, and the young lady came to a meeting at the New National Party and speak, you know. It is now that the members of the New National Party through the NIS being able to go out there and provide the information, they may not have been able to make one of the community meetings. They may not have been able to listen to one of the programs on radio or television. They're on GBN every month. They're on nearly every radio station. They use the opportunity to go there. They do programs. They produce programs. And you're telling them that because I am in a forum of the New National Party, that they shouldn't come and provide me with information, when for the last 20-something years, I've been making my contributions to the NIS? Ball you out of order, you're rude. That's disrespectful. There is no sense, no sensible basis to be having that entire thing and attacking the NIS like that. But you see, they don't want you to know certain things. Because when it comes to the NIS, they continue to want you to have the belief that what is taking place is that the NIS is being robbed by the government of Grenada. That's what they want. They want you to believe that the NIS is being robbed. And that is not true. Because it is this new national party, that had to pay the same NIS for the con job that the NDC government run on them with the sale of Grenlec shares. But they want you to know that. And that is not what the young lady came and she spoke about. She spoke about the contributions that people make and how the contributions are used, etc. And in fact, Mr. Technical, you think we could play the presentation? Sometime to be able to play the presentation? You have it there? If you've got the presentation, we could play it. But nothing is wrong with the presentation she made. But I will add to it. I will tell you that during the time of the National Democratic Congress government, the same people who are talking about robbing the NIS right now, they offered to the National Insurance Scheme shares in Grenlec. And they know pretty well, according to the share purchase agreement, that they could not legally offer any shares of Grenlec to the NIS. You know why they could not? The share purchase agreement says clearly that those shares had to be offered to WRB first. And if WRB, the parent company of Grenlec, decides that they do not want those shares or that they cannot buy those shares at this point in time, either that they are unable or unwilling to take ownership of those shares, then the government of Grenada could dispose of those shares in whichever way they see fit. But they don't want you to know that what they did is that they offered those shares, the NDC government offered those shares to the NIS, got tens of millions of dollars out of NIS for the shares, tens of millions of dollars for the shares. In other words, NIS gave that money to the then government of Grenada, the NDC government, not NNP, the NDC government. And then that is when the NIS found out that they can't take ownership of the shares because it was not approved to WRB, who had to come back and pay. The same new National Party government end up having to come back and pay the NIS back that money. So the NIS did not get the shares. And it's the NNP government that had to come back and pay the money back to the NIS. But no, they don't want you to know that. They want to make you believe that it's the NNP that taking all the money out of the NIS. But when you put, every month, you put a $50 or a $20 or a $5 or even $120, according to your salary scale. When you put that in to the NIS on a monthly basis, remember, when you retire, you are not going to be paid that $20 or that $120 or that $50 or so. What you are going to be paid is a percentage of your last salary that's much higher than that 4 or 5% that you would be paying. So the $20 you're putting in, the NIS cannot simply put that money in a vault and leave it there and say that when Sheldon time to retire comes, we're going to take that $20 and hand him. Because one, the inflation rate will change between the time when I'm working and when I retire. And remember, from a program a while ago, we said what the inflationary rate is. The inflation rate is the change in the price of goods and services. So what $100 would buy you 20 years ago, $100 would not be able to purchase that for you now. And that is not necessarily based on what is going on in your country. If they have a bad wheat harvest in Russia and the United States and Canada, if they have a bad wheat harvest, it will affect the price of flour. It will affect the price of cereals. The price will go up because you have less. So therefore the demand is more and the price is going to go up. And sometimes when the price go up, even if they have a good harvest after, it never goes down. But they don't want you to know that. What they want you to focus on is that, oh, there was in a meeting at the NNP and these people should not be inside there. Absolute nonsense. So the $20 that you put into NIS right now, when the time comes for you to retire, the value of that $20 needs to be increased because you have inflation taking place in the economy. And remember, inflation could go up, it could go down. And the price of goods and so on can go up, it could go down. But generally, it goes up, it increases. So the power of that $100 in 1999 is not the value of that $100 in the year 2019. So let's just be clear on that. But at the same token, if NIS were to just lock that $100 from 1999 into a vault and pull it out now and try to give you back just that $100, you can't do anything much with that. So they must increase. So what does the NIS do? They take that money and they invest it. They invest your money. The banks don't just take your money and leave it there either. Not a bank or a credit union takes your $20 and leave it there. They take your $20 and they invest it to make more money so that they can give you interest on the money and that the bank can get money to do their operations. So you put $1,000 in the bank. Don't think your $1,000 just in the bank. Yeah, technically $1,000 is there. But they take your $1,000 and they lend it to somebody. They get interest on that. And that person pays it back. They take it, they lend it to somebody else. And that's what they do. And the same thing with the NIS. They take your contributions and they provide, whether it's loans to governments, not just the government of Grenada, other regional governments will from time to time invest in Grenada's NIS. In the same way, Grenada's government may or may not invest in other similar programs throughout the Caribbean. So to say now that we put money in there and leave it is an uninformed and uneducated statement, and in some instances it's being made by people who are informed and educated but just are viciously, willingly trying to dissuade people from understanding the truth. Let's just get that part clear. Nothing wrong was done. The only voices you're hearing out there attacking this thing are the same voices you're going to hear out there. Oh, they're going to jump on me now. The same voices that you hear out there saying all sorts of negative things about the government. Let's admit, for instance, there is a problem with the roads in Grenada. And we've been joined by Ms. Duncan. Morning, Ms. Duncan.
Good morning, Sheldon, and good morning to all of our listening audience. It's always a pleasure being here with you.
There is a problem with the roads in Grenada. In fact, Prime Minister went so far as to say so on Sunday. Mm-hmm. We do have a problem with the roads. But that problem with the roads didn't pop up just so. During the period of the NDC, what happened? No, they don't like you to talk about their period in time. But let's just talk about them a little bit. They want some attention, so we shall give them some attention. During the period of time of the NDC, there is an asphalt plant that's located in the Perseverance area. Mm-hmm. They allowed various vandals to vandalize the asphalt plant, The company that was controlling it, Consolidated Contractors Company, they were sent packing from Grenada. The plant was left abandoned, and fellas was going in there, pull out all the wiring to the cost of over $1 million. This happened under the reign of the NDC. Yeah? Remember when people was taking concrete and throwing pothole to try and fix roads and so on? That happened. Okay. That took place, that done. The asphalt plant since then has never operated properly again. It worked for a little while, it break down. It worked for a little while, it break down. Then you have problems with inflows of asphalt coming out of Trinidad to come up to Grenada and so. From time to time, you have that problem as well. So, the asphalt plant as it is right now is not operational. What has the government of Grenada done? They have ensured that they work along with the company so that now there is a brand new asphalt plant on island being set up. Brand new.
Yeah.
When I say brand new, it's shining. It's digital. Brand new state-of-the-art asphalt plant has just been brought into the country. It is being set up or due to be set up. I don't think the actual setup process has started
yet, no.
because they wanted to do some tests on the area that they're going to put it. Because I do not believe that they're going back to the Perseverance area. But the area they wanted to put it, they're doing some tests because you must test the soil, you must test to see what are the emissions coming out and that sort of thing. If you're going to affect groundwater, you must do an environmental impact assessment. The same thing that every time you have a major project that's taking place in Grenada, it must be done. This is a major because this is what's going to be used to help do all the roads and so on from now until. So that is being done. The plant is due to be set up. You understand the situations with the road. So a temporary measure is going on right now. You're using the coal mix because the plant that's there, it's not operational. You're about to set up a next one. So you're doing a temporary something until you can start with the new plant. Yeah? That is admitting that, look, there is a problem. The problem is being addressed. But these same people are the ones that cussing like they forget during their period of time. You used to measure the amount of roads and bridges and drains that were being done in Grenada in inches. In inches. You used to say they do 2 inches of road down there. They do 4 inches of drain in Northeast. Well, no, poor Northeast. Inches. But these are the same people. Listen to the voices that are out in indignation. The same ones who act like they are not supporters, openly, passively, or otherwise, of the National Democratic Congress. Don't worry, you ain't going to see some of them going around the convention on Sunday because they want to give themselves the impression we ain't supporting no party. That's what they want to give. But you listen to them, you hear them, and you hear the hatred they attack the government with. You hear the hatred they attack the new National Party with, and you know where they're coming from. You know that these people don't like the NNP. There's a hatred in some of them. No other way to describe it. Hatred. The young lady, Ms. Duncan, you were there. Did the young lady play any politics? Did she say anything that could be construed as politically explosive or politically charged?
Well, she absolutely did not. And it's sad that we still have to be going around talking about this thing because there are a few voices, a few loud voices that feel that they need to play politics with Grenadians. I've listened to her presentation on more than one occasion in different forums, on different platforms, and the information is the same, letter to letter. It remains the same. Nothing has changed, nothing was added, nothing was subtracted because of the platform she spoke on. It has remained the same. And you know what's sad about it? These same persons that are running their mouths and saying all of these things about the poor and attacking the young lady, right? For no apparent reason, just attacking the poor young lady. These same people, when NIS was having their consultations all over the island, why didn't they jump on a bandwagon and encourage people to go to these consultations in the different schools and the different workplaces and the different areas to listen to the information? I believe that no matter what platform she speaks on, as long as the message reaches the people of Grenada, so the people that were at the convention are not Grenadians.
No Grenadians.
They live on Sugarloaf Island. They're not from Grenada.
But, Miss Duncan, both me and you just pay NIS this week.
Of course.
All of us paying. So you're telling me that I'm paying NIS, and NIS does not have a responsibility to reach me wherever and give me the information about what they're doing with my money?
Exactly. It is their responsibility. I would encourage the NDC to invite her, but you know why they would not invite her? Because some of the mistruths that they have been telling the Grenadian public was revealed in her presentation. So her presentation now contradicts all of the lies that they have been telling people. So all of a sudden now she's a bad person for going on the NNP platform and explaining the standpoint of the NIS to the Grenadian public. Because these people that were there were Grenadian.
And you know, they're upset, as you said, because they're being exposed, for instance, saying that how the government take all NIS money when the government do owe NIS. In fact, it brings me back to the point in time when I was still in Parliament, and a certain parliamentarian that was at the time the political leader of the NDC accused the government of Grenada of not paying NIS. So, when the information was requested, through the Parliament of Grenada, the information was requested. Guess who was owing the government of Grenada? Guess which Minister of Finance was the one that was owing the NIS, that they collected, their administration collected the NIS payments out of public workers and did not pay it into the NIS. It was left up to the new National Party to come back in and pay the contributions of workers from quite back in 2010 and came into office in 2013. And the new National Party had to come back and pay contributions that workers had already paid. It was taken out of their salary. Because it's not like you just get your salary and then you come back and they say, okay, look, my NIS payment. You get your salary minus the NIS payment. You get it minus. But the payment did not go to the National Insurance Scheme.
You know,
that happened under the NDC. It was the NNP had to come back and not only pay what workers were paying then, but had to make extra payments because you had to pay off now what was not paid by the NDC administration. Only should shame to talk about NIS.
But you know what's funny? This morning I listened to a gentleman calling in on a certain radio program. And you know what he said that really stood out to me? He said, we must not always do what is right, but what appears to be right. Those were his words exactly. You know what that means? That means that we must try to fool people. What we do must not be right. It must appear to be right.
Just do the popular thing.
Do the popular thing.
Yeah, everybody's saying do that, so do that.
Exactly.
Even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong, do it because it appears to be right. And that's the kind of politics that is being played in Grenada. You understand? By the so-called opposition forces. These are the things that they want to do. They want it to appear that what they are doing is right, even if they know for a fact that it is wrong. What is so wrong in that young lady sharing information that is beneficial to the Grenadian public on a certain platform, regardless of the platform? So if she goes to a church that is predominantly filled with NDC persons, then that means she would have spoken on an NDC platform, so she's incorrect.
In this type of reasoning that they are putting forward, she ought not to go to churches because there are people that do not believe in God.
In God.
And we may have some, in fact, if she goes to the Catholic Church, then there may be an argument that she go to the Catholic Church, but there are people that are Anglican. And if she goes to the Anglican Church, you have the other argument. And if she just goes to all of the Christian churches, then you hear, well, we have a small Muslim population in the country. How come she didn't talk to them? And what about the people that don't believe in any type of God, the atheists, that we do have in the island? It's just a nonsensical argument from a group of bitter people looking to gain some traction as they're going into their confusion convention.
But what I believe has upset them the most in all of this is that all of the lies that they have been telling over the months, misleading Grenadian people about NIS giving a haircut and the government owing NIS all of this money and all of this nonsense, all of that has been explained and has been revealed within her presentation. So they will not bring her on their platform because it reveals their lies.
Exactly.
It shows them up. It shows up their colors. They will not do that. They will more than likely condemn and bring down that lady for doing her job. That is her job. It is her responsibility as the public relations officer of the NIS to report back to the people of Grenada what is their business, which is matters of the NIS. And that is what she did. She didn't come there as an NNP supporter. She didn't come there as a representative in favor of NNP. We wrote a letter to the NIS recommending that they send someone from the NIS to explain to our people who are also citizens of the state of Grenada the issues of the NIS, what is happening with the NIS, explaining and making comparisons, giving facts. That is what we did. The NDC needs to follow in our footsteps and do that as well, but they will not because they prefer to have their people ignorant and blind. That is the reason why they went on a campaign to just attack this poor lady on an issue that matters, that concerns all Grenadians, whether you're NDC, NNP, and have no political affiliation, or you want people to believe that you don't have a political affiliation. It matters to all Grenadians. So whichever platform you could get them in, if you could go by a rum shop and meet 50 people, and as NIS explain to these people in the rum shop, it is your duty as NIS to reach all of the people, regardless of what platform it is. So I don't see why we are making such a big deal over something that is so minute. I don't understand. They even went as far as to say that the director should not have gotten the letter and that the director should not be the one to make the decision. But if the director does not have power over the decisions of PR in that firm, then what is the purpose of the director? What is his purpose?
And the thing is that they're saying that NIS is a non-political thing, but they're making it into a political issue.
Of course.
They're the ones making it into a political and have continually, over the years, made NIS into a political issue. It's not the New National Party that take properties and sell that they didn't own to the NIS. It's not NNP doing that. It's not the NNP. Not the NNP in 1984 to 1990, not the NNP in 1995 to 2008, and not the NNP at 2013 to now. Not this NNP that take property that they don't own and sell. Not this NNP that try to sell shares that they know they couldn't sell. In other words, hoodwink the NIS by forcing their hand to into taking shares that they know they couldn't pass over to the NIS because it had to be offered according to the share purchase agreement to WRB first. If I was the NDC, the last thing I would have want to ever mention was the National Insurance Scheme.
Of course.
Because your record with it is terribly disgusting.
But Chalon, you know why I'm upset? I am upset because these people believe, and I firmly believe this, they believe that Grenadians are stupid. They have to believe that for you to continuously go around telling the same lie and expecting us to believe it. You have to believe that Grenadians are stupid. I cannot understand why the NDC continuously plays politics with the Grenadian public over matters that they should be interested in, that they should be very focused on, because the NIS benefits every Grenadian, even the bushers on the side of the road, the people who don't have a job right through the year. These people are people who can contribute to the NIS. These are the people who benefit from it. So why not meet these people on a platform where they are available?
Wherever they are. Meet them and speak to them. So I'm still trying to conceive, but I understand what's taking place here, Ms. Duncan. As it is right now, they attack poor Wagiti.
Oh, God.
They attack Wagiti because they don't expect a bumper crowd. They go try and make it look as a bumper crowd, but they don't expect a bumper crowd. Right now, heavy is the head that wears the crown. They're very worried. Yeah, they are very worried about what can and will take place on Sunday. So half in their mind, they're praying rainfall so they could use that as an excuse. And the other half, they want to blame poor Wagiti, who since August announced that he having this bingo that taking place on Sunday. Since August, when he had this, what was the activity he had? Yeah, the all-inclusive that took place in Tantine there. Since then, on his schedule, because when you go to a Wagiti event, he usually announces some of the other activities he has coming up. And since then, he announced Wayne Wagiti Redhead. Since then, he announced that he's having this activity that's coming up at the National Stadium coming up on Sunday. Lo and behold, they start to attack poor Wagiti. Why are you attacking poor Wagiti? Because they're ashamed. They're afraid.
But Shalon,
they want somebody to put their failure on from now.
Of course. But based on what I've heard, they have extended an apology to Mr. Redhead. But if I were Mr. Redhead, I would say no thank you. You know what I want? I want a public apology. Because you see, we are always in the business of going on public platforms and making statements that can hurt the Grenadian people, that can mislead the Grenadian people. But we want to apologize in private. It must not happen. We must demand more.
We have a caller online. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
And how are you?
I'm quite fine, blessed and highly favored.
Yes, well, to tell you the truth, NDC want attention. So you have to faggot them, NDC and Trump and them, then they say Rocky. They don't like good things.
Afraid your mouth.
No, it's the truth. Well, you go hear them Sunday now. The Bacchanal Sunday, you know. Sunday coming is Bacchanal Sunday, you know.
I'm going to copyright my name today. So each time they say Sheldon Scott,
yeah,
I'm supposed to, yeah, they're going to have to pay me because I'm going to copyright my name today.
Yes, you have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to just forget these people and them, and they don't like good things. And this man they call Rolo, I find Rolo, I don't know, you know. Rolo need an island for himself.
There's a thing called a bitter old person.
Yes,
a person who's gotten to a person who's gotten to a stage that they realize that there's not much more they can do.
True.
And if you listen to people like Ray and Rolo, then they say that they're in that bracket, bitter old men.
And I find Kennedy Roberts there with them too, you know. Sour grapes. He wants to rule health. He go rule the health in the home. Fire burn them, don't study them. Hot of fire. That way they will never win an election in Grenada. No way. I say that. Have a blessed day.
All right, blessings.
Yes, Sheldon.
Yeah, but the caller is right. Some of these people are sour grapes. Some of these people and them are they're just bitter. And you're talking just before the caller call. You were making the point about they were actually telling Mr. Wayne Wagiti Redhead in private.
In private, we have to stop that, Sheldon.
We sue them. Sue them, Waggy.
But the thing about it is, and it happens not only to, and first of all, I don't understand how you could go on a political, because when they go on Tuesdays on GBN, they are going as a political party. Mm-hmm. How can you as a political party go on a public forum and attack a private individual? That is the first wrong step. You cannot start attacking private citizens of the country. Mm-hmm. Then secondly, you go making these bogus statements that you have to apologize for. Why not just not make the statement to begin with? And then on top of that, you go on a public forum and say these wrong things about the man that can affect his business and then want to apologize in private.
And you see, the thing is, Wayne Wagiti Redhead, and I will say it, because he would not come out and say it. Wagiti will never come out and say it. He does a lot for a lot of people. You know how much people house burn, Wagiti bill it back. How much children he has assisted to go into school right now. Some who have completed secondary school. Yes. And the people who are listening, they know that is true. Don't think Wagiti just has these things and at the end of it, nothing. Even on the stage sometime, you hear somebody have to do surgery.
Yes.
You see they're giving a check on the stage.
Of course.
Judah does it. Waggy does it.
Yes.
Steve Duncan does it as well. We don't hear people talking about these things and so. But instead of congratulating Wagiti for a lot of these type of things that he does, because we don't see the NDC doing that for anybody as a political organization. We don't see them trying to assist anybody when they house born and this and that. We hear them running down government and saying government should. But we don't see them pick up the mantle and say we're going to do this and that for that person. Wagiti does it. But instead of praising him, they attack him because they expect, because I know there's a lot of things going on take place there on Sunday. Eh?
Of course.
In fact, I want them to tell me that some of what I'm about to say here, Ms. Duncan, listen well, I want them to tell me that some of what I'm about to say here is untrue. You, NDC, the executive, I want you to say that what I'm about to say here is untrue. Because we know from all that you're hearing that Mrs. Franca Alexis Bernardine, she is one of the candidates that is being put forward by a particular section of the NDC as political leader. We do hear him, because I said it before, that Mr. Andal, being the failure that he is, will not be the political leader of the NDC by this time next week. But, you know, I want them to tell me that Mr. Adrian Persuader Thomas is not also interested in being political leader of the NDC and has been moving around the island making presentations to delegates of the NDC begging for the chance to become political leader, talking about his years within the party, talking about all of the contributions that he has made through the Calypso art form and agriculture and all of these things, and saying that he is a better candidate than Mrs. Franca Alexis Bernardine to be the political leader of the NDC and take them into the next general election. Yeah? Tell me that Mrs. Maria Roberts Pascal has not been making similar presentations to groups of NDCites around the island. No, I want you all to say Sheldon Scott lie. No, go and talk about Sheldon Scott A, B, and C. You could go ahead and do that, but tell me a lie. Yeah? Tell me that when... sometimes you have to play it, sometimes you have to say it. But anyway, tell me that Mr. Glenn Noel didn't stand up in a meeting recently in front of Tillman Thomas and his wife and say that the reason, when he was asked, because, Glenn wanted to go back as General Secretary, and when he was asked the question, well, listen, you failed the party twice as General Secretary, 2 times in 2013 and in 2018. You were the General Secretary of the party, and the party lost both elections worse than ever, 15-0 twice with you, Glenn Noel, as the General Secretary. Why should we take you back as the General Secretary? Because Glenn wanted to be General Secretary. He ain't step away. He ain't say that he wouldn't take a nomination. He wants to be. Tell me that I lie when he stood up in front of the same Tillman Thomas and said that Tillman Thomas and Nazim Burke never listened to your advice. That is the reason that they lost the 2013 and the 2018 election. The same Glenn, who when Tillman Thomas was attempting to speak to, who was Kalisha Faria, he pulled on and he said, no further questions. He looked like he was in charge then. No further questions today. You don't answer any questions. That stood up and said that. Yeah? But we know it have a certain section looking at somebody from Carriacou for General Secretary. Last time when he said he wanted it and thing, a delegation go to him and say, boy, nah, don't go down that road. Leave Glenn alone, don't go down that road. But the same Glenn, even on some of their programs, they're attacking him, They're attacking him because there's the new wave that coming through. Yeah, there's the new wave that coming through. And Mrs. Maria Roberts Pascal? Yeah? Yeah, there's a new wave that coming through. Imagine a man stand up in front of Tillman and say the reason that they lose the election is Tillman. And other NDCites sit down there, you let him out. It's a good thing Nazim wasn't there, that guy too. Yeah, so all you feel, I know who certain people nominating and all kind of thing. Yeah? Like how Pablo and Andrea at it for General Secretary on the Western Zone. All you feel me know about that? How Black Wizard and Django were Assistant General Secretary for the Eastern Zone. Yeah? You know about that. I could give all you all the slates and them that all you want to call on Sunday. I could give all you word for word, person for person. And I would like you all, in fact, watch. What time our talks are tomorrow? 10 o'clock, right? Yeah, see what's going on. I would like you all to tell me that I lie. All you have between now and hard talk tomorrow to say that Sheldon Scott lie. And I want all you say it in a forum where I could record all you saying that I lie. Do it. Go ahead and say that I lie. Yeah? Anyway, Ms. Duncan, let me go back on an answer. Yeah, because you see that one could end up kind of different day too and all kind of thing, you understand?
But, I mean, we as Grenadians, we have to be watchful. We have to be mindful. We have to be careful of who we put to administrate. I'm not going to say govern, because our country is governed by the administrators, which are our 15 representatives, and our public servants. That's who governs the country. So we have to be careful who we put to administrate. Because if within themselves they cannot agree on the most suitable leader, then how can you agree on what must be done to better Grenada? And that is probably one of the reasons why they cannot sit down and say, well, this has been done good. We support the government on this. We propose this to the government. They have no plan, no structure, no leadership. And they want to condemn our party, our new national party. On Sunday, it was clear, it was unanimous. There was no question of who our leader should be because we know, we see the leadership quality. We see the benefits of our leadership. We see where our country has been and where it is going and where it is headed. We see that. So there was no question.
You know, it could be interesting, though, because I'm looking at them on Sunday, and I want to know if Claudette, if Senator Ron Redhead, or if Ian Django Thomas, all three who have said they want to be the public relation officer of the party, which one of them will be successful? But let me take our overseas call.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning to both of you all.
Good morning.
Sunday, I searched the whole internet and I did not get the NMP, whatever convention that was going on. But anyhow, I heard on one program that one certain fine man who think he has all the education in Grenada spoke about the NNIS lady. And I was saying, well, what wrong did that lady really said? Anyhow, was it Tuesday that most of the members spoke, and then I heard her, and I said, oh my God, what wrong did that lady say? She really enlightened myself. And it was so good to help people to understand that they have a future ahead of them and they have to plan. It's like in the world talk about to be putting up like how the ants and the crony put up for the rainy days. And this is what this is about. So why up to this morning all these people are saying all these things that what the Prime Minister, whoever invited the lady, why was that wrong? Did she break the law? It's only if she broke the law then we could say she was wrong. But it was so good, Ms. Duncan and Sheldon. What's wrong with these people? When will Grenadians come to terms that we are Grenadian and we must do things to help each other? My God, and Mr. Rollo, Sheldon, I talked to you already about this thing with what Rollo keeps saying about the Constitution. Listen to me for the last time. This thing must be resolved and the government is hearing it. This thing must be resolved and put a man in his place. I don't know if this could go on in this country where I am, but that man needs to be put in his place. I don't know what citizen he is to be spreading this kind of information. He joined with the other highly educated man and saying the lady was wrong. Come on! These things have to stop. Thank you so much.
All right, my dear. And folks, what we're going to do in the next minute or so, we're actually going to play the presentation that was done by the NIS. And here's what, those who tape it well.
Yeah.
Because we'd like you all to take that presentation and match it up against other presentations that she has made at other forums. And say to us if anything that she said there was different or tailored in a political way or any such thing. Yeah? Any such thing. Let me see. I'm looking for it here, Mr. Technical. It's in the transfer. Let me see. Did it? I'm just trying to get it so that we can put it on in the next minute or so. We're going to put it on and then we're going to come right back because we want you to hear for yourself.
Yes. It's important. It is. And I hope that all of the naysayers and all of the persons who are complaining about it's wrong, I hope they themselves take an opportunity to listen to what she has to say. Because you were upset that the consensus this morning was that she must go on radio programs and so on and speak about it. So I hope that these same persons are listening this morning to the radio programs that they are suggesting that she go on and listen to what she has to say. Because her information is clear, her information is non-biased, and her information is truthful. And that is what they're afraid of. That is what has them so upset.
So we're going to play that right about now, and then we'll come right back and complete the discussion right after that. Django Bar, wish your best, boy. Go for PRO. Yeah, I hear you. Right now, you can't even get PRE. Anyhow, but...
Good afternoon to everyone. Pleasant afternoon to our Prime Minister and all our members of Parliament. This evening, I'm here in the capacity of the Public Relations Officer at the NIS to talk about the sustainability of the fund. Now, since 1983 to present, I'm sure all of us in this room could say in one way or the other, the NIS has impacted our lives positively. I know one of the first things people normally try to say is that NIS taking all my money, but one of the things they don't say is the millions of dollars that the NIS pays out to the Grenadian public every month, every year. And today I'm going to focus on that and also why it is we need to ensure our NIS remains sustainable. So today I would just look at a brief performance over the years, some key findings and our current experience. I will make some regional comparisons because one of the things that we also need to understand is that Social Security is a worldwide thing. It's not something that's just unique to our little Grenada. It's something that exists in every country of the world. And wherever you go, Social Security is always mandatory because it's society's way of ensuring that working people have income protection. I'm sure if I do a short survey here and I ask most of you, you don't have to put up your hand, how many of you have made provisions, have made some type of investment for your retirement? Or even now, let's suppose you decide, you know what, I'm not going to pay NIS, I'm going to do my own investments, I'm going to take care of now and I'm going to take care of my future in terms of my pension. I'm sure I would get less than 5% saying I have some personal form of investment that I have done. So if we really do some serious introspection, we would see how important NIS is to us. Now, since 1983 to now, the NIS started, I should say, on April 4th. We commenced providing short-term benefits. We had sickness, maternity, funeral, long-term benefits, invalidity, age benefits, and survivors. And remember, in 1998, the Workmen's Comp Act was repealed and replaced by the NIS Employment Injury Benefit Regulations, and employers were required to pay 1% more to cover employees for employment injury. So from 1983 to now, really and truly, no changes have been made to the NIS contribution rate. It has remained 4% for employees, originally 4% for employers, but the 1% was added for employment injury. Now, let me talk a little bit about how the NIS is structured so you get a decent appreciation of how your interest as an employee or an employer is represented. Now, the National Insurance Board, the NIB, I know sometimes you hear us talking about the NIB and you would say, well, I thought it was NIS. The National Insurance Board is the entity responsible for administering the National Insurance Scheme. And the National Insurance Board is tripartite in nature, meaning the three main groups of stakeholders, your interests are represented. So there are 7 persons on the National Insurance Board. 2 persons representing employees, 2 persons representing employers, 2 persons representing the government, and the 7th person is the director of the NIS. Now, the law says we have to be tripartite, so everybody could be represented. And I must say, from 1983 to now, we're not only tripartite on paper. You know, sometimes something's written in the books, but it's not enforced. It is actually enforced, and from 1983 to now, the employers' representatives have always been chosen by the Employers' Federation without any interference from the government. The employees' representatives are chosen by the Trade Union Council, the TUC, without any interference from the government. So we must say, in nature, in actual practice, and on paper, we're actually tripartite, and we hope that it would continue that way. So the TUC has never gotten any pushback from any government to date. Our investment committee, the board has committees that it would put in place to ensure that the fund is invested properly and other aspects of the NIS is administered in a very professional, a very prudent manner. So we have an investment committee that is also tripartite. So we have employees represented, employers represented, and the government. And the law also makes allowances for an appeals tribunal. So you should know that if you are ever dissatisfied with a decision of the director, you can appeal independently. You don't have to pay for it. So you don't have to say, well, NIS disallowed my benefit, and I think I should have received that benefit, and now I have to pay a lawyer. No, you don't have to do that. It's free. A lawyer heads the appeal tribunal, so you have an opportunity to appeal. Now, from 1983 to the end of December 2017, the NIS, anybody could guess how much we have paid out in benefits? Anybody want to take a wild guess? The NIS has paid out over $707 million to the Grenadian public. And I think you could give us a hand clap for that. We have paid out over $118 million in short-term benefits. So when you're sick, when you have your baby and all of that, you could put your pot on the fire. Once your contributions are paid, and I must say on that note, there are employers, unfortunately, who would deduct employees' contributions and not pay it in. So one of the things that we are very strict about, our largest department in NIS is compliance. We want you to report it. So we want you to check your contribution status, and if your employer is not paying, we will take up the matter legally. All right? So we have paid out long-term benefits. That's where our pensions lie. Over $571 million in long-term benefits and over $11 million in employment injury benefits. And of course, to pay out, we must collect. So during that same period, 1983 to 2017, we have collected $1.2 billion in contribution income. And of course, the way Social Security is structured, initially, Social Security is able to build up large reserves in its early years. Because when you just start, when Social Security starts, you have few pensioners, you have a small staff, you're paying out less and less in benefits, but you're collecting contributions. So it means it gives you an opportunity in your early years to build up huge reserves. Now, when you pay your contributions, the funds that are not immediately used to pay benefits are invested. So we have two forms of income, contribution income and investment income. So during that same period, we have earned over $606 million in investment income. So I know one of the things, since we've been talking about sustainability, one of the things people would try to say is that the fund is being mismanaged, but it's something that is furthest from the truth. $606 million in investment income, giving us a total income of $1.8 billion during the period. So the reserves right now is intact. But you know what? Sometimes in our own personal lives, when we have a bit of money in the bank, and we might have the tendency to start living above our means, right? So let's suppose you get some money, you have a little $20,000 in the bank, and you decide, wow, I have a lot of money, and you start living above your means. So every month, you're taking out more than you're putting in. What would happen? And it is something similar that is happening with the NIS. Similar in that originally we had fewer pensioners, but persons have been living longer. And I would look at some of the other factors that is affecting the sustainability. All right? So persons have been living longer, and also we have other factors like productivity that sometimes we don't think about. So every time we're at a desk and we're supposed to be working and we do not, or we call in sick when we're not sick, our employer, whether you're in the private sector or the public sector, the employer is losing money. So if your employer is losing money, it means whatever area you are in, it will do worse than it could be doing. So it means you're taking money away from the employer when you should be adding value. So that's one thing that also takes away money from coming into the NIS. But the most important factor is births and deaths. Persons are living longer and women are having less and less children. Now, this is the way Social Security works. I know the first thing you might say is, nah man, look at the death news, people are dying. But this is how Social Security works. The contributions that we collect today are used to pay the pensioners, right? So contributors today are paying the pensions of the pensioners who are with us today. But it only takes 3 years for an NIS contributor to receive back in pension payments alone everything that you contributed. So you might say, well, no man, I pay NIS a lot of money, I worked for 40 years. But even though, let's suppose you start working at age 20 and you work right up to 60, in that 40 years where you've contributed, it only takes you 3 years to receive everything back. But at age 63, the NIS can't and doesn't say, well, you've used up everything you've paid and maybe you just may have gotten sickness benefit or maternity or employment injury while you were working. So if you've used everything up, that's it. No. We have a type of fund that is a defined benefit arrangement where you contribute and the benefit that you get is not entirely dependent on how much you contribute. It's dependent on the fact that you've contributed for a particular period of time at a particular salary and you have to get your benefit once you work for a particular period of time, even if you did not pay enough to get it. We had a taxi driver some time ago who was doing an airport run one night and he was self-employed, he was contributing and he had an accident and his medical expenses alone came up to just over $200,000. Now I'm sure he did not pay $200,000 or anything close to that. But you know what? That is how Social Security works. It is based on the concept of solidarity. We all are contributing, so we take care of each other. So what is happening with our pensioners? They're living longer, but women are having less children, so we have less contributors coming in to support each pensioner. So it means if you have your pension payouts, that is being done for a much longer time, but you don't have the contribution income from the number of contributors coming in, it means you will eventually end up at a point where we have ended up, and let me turn to the exact, right. Now, every 3 years, we are mandated by the national insurance laws to carry out an actuarial review. It's an independent review that an actuary would do, and he would produce a report, and in that report make recommendations for the sustainability of the NIS. And in our last 4 reviews, our actuaries have been saying that if we do not make changes to the NIS, because of the number of pensioners you have, compared to the number of contributors coming in, you would reach to a point where the amount you're paying out is more than what you're collecting. And I remember the first time the actuary said that in his report, a lot of us decided, you know what, let's not listen to these white people. They don't know what's happening in Grenada. It would never happen. But I'm sure if you were paying attention, you would realize since 2016, on a monthly basis, the NIS now pays out more than it is collecting. And that is not a sustainable situation. And we are able to do that because remember I said at the start, we have built up our reserves. Yeah, we've built up a reserve. So we have money in reserve and also we have investment income. So currently, investment income is being used to cover the shortfall. But guess what? The actuary is saying you cannot continue like that. And if you decide still to do nothing, come 2022, contribution income together with investment income would no longer be able to cover the shortfall. So guess what? The reserves that we think, well, NIS have money that could never finish, the reserves that we are so proud of, eventually we have to start dipping into it. And remember I talked about your personal life where you have your account, but you start taking out more than you're putting in, is the same situation that the NIS will be in. So although currently we have over $900 million in reserves, come 2022, we will have to start dipping into that reserves every month. And if we continue to do that, the actuary is saying come 2035, the reserves would drop to zero. So no more $900 million. And at that point, the contribution rate would automatically have to go to 22.5% without any consultation. Because for most of us in Grenada, when we're sick, when we have a baby, when we're injured on the job, and especially when we retire, we have no personal form of income to depend on. Yeah? We have to depend on the benefits provided by the National Insurance Scheme. And hence the reason we have to stop saying some of the things we have been saying about the NIS taking people money and this, that, and the other. Let's stop that and realize that is where our benefits come from. Yeah? This wasn't introduced in Grenada by chance. It was introduced so that us working people could have some form of income protection. So when I'm sick and I have to stay home for 2 weeks, I should not worry that my bills wouldn't get paid. No, I have a benefit coming in. And I should not worry when I retire, I have to depend on a handout and I have to line up. No, my benefits are coming in. Because one of the things we need to realize, we have to make provisions for if something happens, right? So we need to do something. And I know one of the things that we are also quick to say is that, you know what, the government taking all the NIS money, that's why the NIS is in this trouble. But it's the furthest thing from the truth. Now, every government in the world, every social security rather, they all invest in their government. Because one of the things that we need to realize is that social security is also socially responsible for the development of the country as a whole. So when the National Insurance Fund invests in government securities, when we invest in NAWASA, when we invest in the airport, anybody have a private airport that you use so you don't have to depend on our international airport? Anybody have a private source of water that you could depend on? I mean, some of us might have a little spring, but we have to, Social Security has to invest in its country to ensure that all of us as citizens, we could have a high quality of life. So of course we have some investment in government securities. But the level of exposure that we have is often blown up, all right? And I must say, since 2015, the government of Grenada has made good in everything that was outstanding. So when it comes to contribution income on behalf of its employees and all other payments, it has been up to date. So we know that is not the case. So since 2015 to the end of 2017, the government has paid up over $25 million to the NIS. And every month they have been current. So we know it's not bad investments. Of course, we had a few who fell through the cracks, like CLICO and British American, but since then, we have tightened up. Our investment department is doing more due diligence and all of that. But since then, nobody cannot say we have not been investing prudently. So we know we've been investing, and we know it's not government borrowing. So you have no choice, and you could do the research for yourself, because Grenada is not the only country in this situation. Social security all over the world is facing this situation because it is based on intergenerational transfers. The pensioners today are depending on the contributions from the contributors today. So if it means women are having less children, younger people dying, younger people getting sick, it means less and less contributions coming in to support each pensioner. So we must make changes. The actuaries have been saying, let's make changes. And throughout the region, and I will just give you some brief information, so you would see it's not just us that have to make changes. Everybody have to listen to their actuary and make changes. In Antigua and Barbuda, the pension age is already 62 because they're in the same situation. They have to make changes. Their contribution rate this year is 13%, and it is continuing to increase. In Grenada, we have proposed a 2% increase right now. 1% from the employee, 1% from the employer, making the total 11%, right? In Antigua, it is continuing to increase, and come 2025, it would be 16%. Antigua is also taking another measure based on their fund sustainability. They are increasing the number of contributions required to get a pension. So whereas in Grenada, what's our minimum requirement again? How much contributions we need? 500. Guess what? In Antigua, if you decide, you know what, I'm going to leave Grenada and go to Antigua. In Antigua, it is now 600. And come 2025, it would be 750. So it means they are asking you to work an additional 5 years just to qualify for the minimum, just to reach the minimum requirement to get a pension. The same thing is happening in Dominica. Currently, the pension age in Dominica, guess how much it is? Anybody? It is 64, and come 2021, it would be 65. The contribution rate currently in 2019 is 12.75%, and come 2031, it would be 15.75%. And I could continue to go on. Barbados, anybody could guess what this pension age is? It's 67. We all know that. And they have talks of increasing it to 70. The contribution rate in Barbados is 23.85%. 23.85%. And I know we might say, of course, they have unemployment. But at the end of the day, 23.85% is 23.85%. St. Vincent, same story. Currently, the pension age is 62. And by 2028, it will be 65. They are also increasing the number of contributions required to get a pension. So currently it's 600. So if you decide, you know what, I'm going to Vinci, I'm leaving Grenada, you would need, by 2028, 750 contribution weeks to get a pension. The contribution rate is 10%. And I could continue. Anguilla is 65, BVI is 65, Montserrat is 6, and I could continue right through the region. Everybody is listening to their actuary, and Grenada needs to wake up and pay attention and protect our pension, protect our benefits. And this is what the actuary has proposed. One, the increase in the contribution rate, the 2% increase, and Cabinet has approved it, thank God. And from January 2020, you will pay an additional 1% as an employee and as an employer. In addition to that, the actuary is saying you have to gradually increase your pensionable age from 60 to 65. But guess what? The longer you take to do it, the shorter the period you have. I remember when I started to work in NIS in 1998 as a, fresh out of TAMCC and all of that, maybe I would have believed too before I really knew the facts that, why they want to take more money from people's salary and why they want to increase the age. But I had to wake up and pay attention and realize I need to make sure when I retire there is something in the fund. Yeah? And originally, I remember the actuary gave a period of 25 years. Nothing was done. Then 20 years, nothing was done. 16 years, nothing was done. So the longer we wait, the shorter the period. So wake up, ladies and gentlemen. We need to make changes now. We need to gradually increase the pensionable age from 60 to 65. And this is how it is proposed to work. Now, when it increases, you will still have the opportunity to take your pension at 60 if you so desire. So we would have what is called the normal retirement age, whatever age that is. So let's suppose the age increases this year and it goes to 62. So the normal retirement age this year is 62. You would have an opportunity to decide, you know what? I would either retire before, I want my pension before, or at the age or after. Now, for every month you take it earlier than you're supposed to, your pension would reduce by 0.5% for every month you take it earlier than you're supposed to. So that equals to 6% per year. So if I had to go at 62, but I decide, I know when I would die, I want it at 60, after the NIS calculates my pension, I would get a reduction of 6 plus 6%, 12%, because I went 2 years earlier than I was supposed to. If I go at 62, I get whatever my pension should be. Plus, you would now have an opportunity to go later. So if I decide, you know what, I'm not ready yet, I would stay a couple of years and work still, then in that case, let's suppose I go at 64, yeah? My pension would be increased by 0.5% for each month I go later. I take my pension later than I'm supposed to. So in that case, my pension would increase by 12% because I went 2 years later. So we will now have flexible retirement. You get to decide based on your situation. So if you decide you're tired, you want to go early, no problem, you go at 60. And if you decide, I could continue still a young and strong and looking fit like the Prime Minister, then you stay and you get an increase. So I'm saying there is flexibility. You have flexibility to go or to rather take your pension when you need to take your pension. So we're saying that right now, Grenada is the only country in the OECS who is not waking up and smelling the coffee and realizing that we need to make changes so that our social security fund would remain sustainable. So I want all of us here today, everybody who is hearing the sound of my voice, to decide, let's make these decisions. In our homes, when things are falling apart, we don't just sit there and decide, you know what, this thing falling apart, but I'm not going to do nothing. No, we make changes. So the meal was costing 9%. Right now, it is actually costing 12%, although you're paying 9%. So although we're increasing it to 11%, really and truly, according to the actuary, we're paying benefits at 12%, but we're increasing it by 11%. So come on, let's not just increase the contribution rate, let us gradually increase the pension age now so that the national insurance scheme could remain sustainable for us, our children, and every generation to come.
Yes, indeed, folks. So there it is. You've had it.
What are you telling yourself?
Yeah, that's the presentation that was made by Miss, what's her name, Lisa Douglas?
Douglas.
Yeah, at the New National Party convention.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard this exact same presentation before. I've heard it before, and it wasn't at any political forum.
Mm-hmm.
See, I make it my business to go out to consultations and find out what's happening with the country because I live here. I'm a member, I'm a stakeholder in the state of Grenada, so it's my business to attend these things. But there are a lot of people who don't attend and have the most to say. But let me just make this point, a very important point that I think needs to be made. Now, the new National Party, in the planning of its convention, we decided that it was very important, as we do in all of our forums, decide that it was very important that information regarding the state of Grenada reaches our people, right? We, as the party, decided to engage the NIS, and I think that's an important point. The NIS did not engage us. We engaged them because we thought that it was very important that our people, that the message, that the information reaches our people in every strata. And that is what happens when we have convention. We have all of our supporters, all of our Grenadian people from every strata attending our convention. And that was, we engaged them to come at our evening session, and that was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? We sent them a letter. I myself dropped off the letter. They agreed to send a representative, and who more befitting to represent them than their public relations officer? They sent their representative. She was given a time frame in which she must present. As soon as Ms. Douglas, and I can attest to that, would have finished her presentation, she left the compound of MacDonald College. She did not come.
She leaves so fast I don't even see when she's going.
Yes,
by the time I hear the last word, look, I ain't see where she going.
Of course,
she was
because
out.
She did not come, and as a matter of fact, she was not even there before the time of her speech. She came exactly when she needed to speak. She spoke on the relevant topic, and she left. And I think that's what people need to understand. She didn't come as part and parcel of. She didn't come and sit on the stage with our executives and mingle and so on. She did not stick around and say, well, I mean, even though I'm a member of the NIS, I'm also a supporter of the New National. We don't even know which party Ms. Lisa Douglas supports, nor do we care. What was important to us at that time was that the information regarding the NIS reached our people. And that is what is most important. So I would advise the NDC, because Ms. Lisa Douglas might well be a supporter of, you understand? I would well advise the NDC. It's not too late. Today is what, Thursday? Thursday. Speak to Mr. Dorset Cromwell, the director of the NIS, and see if he, in this late time, can make some reservation for somebody from the NIS to also come and speak to your people. Because guess what? Whether NDC or NNP, whatever decision is taken by the NIS and by the government of Grenada in extension will affect all Grenadians, regardless of their political affiliation. And that is what we need to understand.
And folks, listening to that presentation, and remember, we will be having a rebroadcast of Hard Talk tonight from 8 p.m. via CRFM 89.5, and in Brooklyn from 10 p.m. via 94.9. Time and change in the States yet, no?
No. Well,
right.
I think so. From Sunday, I think.
From Sunday. I know sometime
From
around
Sunday.
this time of year, the time does go back by an hour. It does always
yeah.
throw us off a bit between Hard
Yes,
Talk and,
yes.
and our friends in Brooklyn. But from 10 o'clock there. So we will be rebroadcasting today's program, and you can hear her presentation, but also via Hard Talk and the NNP's pages, we will be putting out the presentation that was done by Ms. Douglas, because what is important here is not the messenger. What is more important than anything else here is what you've just been listening to for the last few minutes.
The message.
The message itself and how it applies to you, the individual.
Yeah.
Don't lose focus on the important thing here. It's the message. It was factual. They don't like the part where she spoke about the fact that the new National Party government, as at the end of 2015, were current with all payments. And they weren't current with payments before, not because between 2013 and 2015, the NNP government wasn't paying, but that it had to be paying a backlog
Yeah.
from 2010 and another period. I'm trying to remember the exact periods here because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it was 2010 was one of the periods that workers' contributions were collected and not paid by the government of Grenada. And we know who was in charge of the government of Grenada at that point in time. Wasn't it? I would be shame as NDC. If NDC go and talk about NIS on the platform on Sunday, they had to be shameless, gutless. They had to be not have guts, and they had to be shameless.
But Sheldon,
they shame played brick.
Let's be fair to them. They have 5 main topics that they speak about, and that they have been speaking about for the past 2 years because it is all that they know: the condition of the roads, the Cellgate issue, the NIS. Well, they ain't even bothering with Kennedy Roberts and his what universal health care. They ain't even bothering with him, and he's the only one talking about it.
He reappear, girl. I know. So all of a sudden he reappear. After we say that they hide him, he reappear. So.
Oil and gas, and how to get Keith Mitchell out of office. That's their 5 main topics. Other than that, they have no substance. They have no body because they don't want to. They don't want to engage their people for betterment. They want to keep them bitter. If they're bitter and they're angry, they're going to vote NNP out of government, and then they will get an opportunity to go there and do absolutely nothing.
But see, the other thing that they're attempting to do is they're trying to scare people away from being supporters of the new National Party. They think if they attack you viciously, be you Mrs. Taylor that simply came and speak at a function of the party in her capacity as a public relation officer of an entity that provides a service to the same people who were sitting there listening. If it's Miss Douglas, or if it's, last time we had a doctor here when the American ship was here, and man, they attacked him. Because they don't want people coming around on any platform of the new National Party. They don't want people to be supporters of the party. And they think the way to do that is to try and belittle and frighten you.
Yeah.
So they attempt to belittle and frighten people.
Yes.
And that's what they're attempting to do to poor Miss Lisa Douglas.
But it's always
the lady
said...
maybe doesn't even vote.
It is always said that whenever they cannot handle your facts, they attack you personally. And that is... It just goes to show that that's such a true statement. It is just... the lady is just following instruction. Her job, it is her duty to ensure that the information from the NIS gets out to the people, regardless of the forum that it is on. So it don't matter if she go in tongue, like on a Friday with a loudspeaker, and give her presentation, as long as the information reaches the people of Grenada. So my question still remains. The people, 500 and such people that were at the NNP convention at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they are not Grenadians. We were not Grenadians. We're living on a whole other island.
Not contributors
and
to the
we don't contribute to NIS. So we do not deserve to know what is happening with the NIS. You're trying to dictate now how we must get our information. That is sad.
Yeah. They better worry about Sunday and don't worry about last Sunday. But you see, the other thing is this, we had an extremely successful convention. We had no fight over any position. So
of course not.
From our political leader to our new deputy political leader, then here we had about 12 candidates, or how much candidates come up, and so we easily, new deputy political leader, new chairman at the party, and who else? We have new treasurer, and so on. No confusion, no chair pelting,
nobody had to go and lobby beforehand.
Yeah, and nobody ain't leave with their face vexed because they didn't get who they want.
No.
But we know on Sunday some people go be vexed. Persuade her. I hope you could persuade some people, man. You see, I wonder if Patrick Antoine go be at that convention. Dr. Patrick Antoine. I wonder if he go be at that convention. Doc, you know my number, man. Give me a buzz. Let me know if you're going to be at the convention on Sunday night.
But Sheldon, you know what I heard? I hear a lot of people going NDC convention. You know why? They say that it's like a movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. A soap opera.
A drama. Yes, boy.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, folks, that's all the time we've got for Hard Talk today. It's been wonderful being in studio with you today. And, of course, Miss Duncan, I don't know if you have anything final you want to say to the listeners before. Oh, folks, before we leave, I just received a notice a little while ago For some reason, it went into my spam box. So I actually have to read it from there. Those of you that are heading into the south of the island, try to avoid going to the Montrouge area. They're doing some resurfacing down in that area. I want to make sure that when the new political leader of the NDC is coming out, they have nice smooth roads to traverse along. So, yeah, man, one smooth ride, because the ride during it gonna be so bumpy. You need a smooth ride coming in and going out. But anyway, they're doing some work down in that area. So, folks, if you can use the alternative routes of passing through Montu, if you've gotten as far as down to the Cap Bank area there, Radisson area, if you could use the Montu route, or if you can use the Springs, Woodlands, Woburn route, Granans Valley route, to get to where you're going, because the Montrouge area itself, the road has been blocked off because they're doing some work down there.
Right.
So if you have to get into that area, the best option is to pass through Montu or to pass through Grandans Valley. All right. And there are a lot of work taking place, different areas. I'm looking for the release and I can't find it for some reason, but I have the release somewhere there. So I'm going to get that and put it out either via WhatsApp and Facebook and so on. You put it up on Facebook already?
Yes.
Straight up on the HARDTALK page, bro. So we're going to put that information out for you all so that So the ministry, let me just read it quickly here. Ministry of Infrastructure Development, Public Utilities, etc., etc., etc. Road crews in action at the Granans area and other parts of the island. Right? So it says to address some of the rainfalls that we had recently, the road division has commenced the deployment of asphalt crews. So presently in St. George's area, there are crews from Granitang to Mount Gay Main Road, Calavini Main Road, St. Paul's Main Road, Cherry Hill to Brizan, doing surface repairs and patching potholes. The public is hereby informed that today, Thursday, the 31st of October, asphalt crews will be in the area of the Excel Plaza, Grand Anse Main Road, and Montrouge from 9 a.m. The Royal Grenada Police Force will assist with traffic arrangements. So the motoring public is hereby advised to expect delays as a result of the road work. The alternative routes will be through Grand Anse Valley and Montu. All right, so especially even if you're coming from the airport, it might be wise to take it through Dusty Highway and then go through the valley. Yeah, because especially since the work is taking place in Excel Plaza, it's going to back up the road, the traffic past the. I think right now it's already past the breweries, so it's better to pass through. Those of you down in the airport, taximen, I hope all are listening. Or, if you all, according to where you all going and thing, you could pass through. What they call this here, Granan's housing scheme and so.
Yeah.
But then you still end up with a problem if you have to go back to the main road. So the best one, pass through Dusty, through Springs and so, Valley Springs, and head to town.
Yeah.
All right.
I have one announcement. It would be remiss of me not to say it. Tomorrow, the 1st of November, from 6 p.m., the parliamentary representative of St. Andrews South East presents their grand backlit lime. Right, and that's at Kuma Junction. There will be a wide variety of eats and drinks. Of course, an ice-cold bar and a hot kitchen. Right, there are a lot of games like cards and dominoes and Ludo and so on. Of course, in attendance will be your parliamentary representative, on the Honourable Emmeline Pear. So it's an opportunity as well for you to meet and greet with her. So we're encouraging people within that area and the surrounding constituencies as well to attend and support.
All right. So, folks, as we said, that's all the time we have for today. And whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
We are out.
Grenada to work with Caribbean neighbor to enhance visitor experience at tourist attraction sites. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, October 30th, 2019, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Grenada will be working with the Ministry of Tourism Jamaica to beef up visitor experience at well-known tourist attraction sites in the coming months. During Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing, Minister for Tourism, Honorable Clarence Modeste Cohen, said while Grenada is already doing a lot to market the destination, promotion and enhancing visitor experience can never be overemphasized. The ministry has been working along with the Tourism Authority to erect signage at strategic locations and displaying promotional videos at airports and cruise terminals. Minister Modeste Cohen says government already has the commitment from Jamaica to collaborate and make the tourism site more vibrant.
Either a PPP, a public-private partnership, so that means a private investor with, and when I say investor, I'm not talking necessarily of somebody from outside. I think Grenadians can do that easily, can work with government to do something, but it seems as though the private sector does it better, and all of the sites in Jamaica are commercialized. And maybe that's part of the reason they do so very well and they get exceeding numbers. So there's a commitment from the Ministry of Tourism to work with us, and we'll seriously be pursuing some of the ideas that they have, some of the things that have worked with them to make our tourism more resilient, more vibrant.
The tourism minister highlighted other developments in the tourism sector, one of which is the commercialization of Annandale Waterfall. She said soon the site will be leased to bring more benefits and revenue to the people of Grenada.
Annandale is close to commercialization, and I say commercialization and not privatization. It means that it will be leased to somebody or an entity that is going to run it, but it belongs to the nation, to the people. I just wanted to clarify that. So that is one that we have not done much work with, because we have a serious proposal that has been accepted. It was subjected to all of the processes for contracting out that commercialization. We did the request for proposals and so on, and we got 2. And we did it again, and we still got the same 2. So we decided to go ahead with it, but they were very good proposals, and one has been selected.
Rehabilitative work has also been done on several other tourist attraction sites.
The trails at Grand Tang, because it has emerged, but a growing demand for more physical activities like trails or things like river rafting and so we've done quite a bit on that. In Mongazo, which is owned by government, that one has been contracted out to a local, a Grenadian person to manage, and I understand when the Jamaicans visited it, they were very, very pleased, and it's something that they're encouraging that we fast track and we move with it. We've done some work at Bathway, infrastructural works at Bathway, and certainly about 2 weeks ago, it's not infrastructure, but it's an important addition. 2 weeks ago, we handed over ATV, which, what is ATV again? It's a vehicle that can go on any terrain. I think that's what it is, any terrain vehicle, all terrain vehicles, that's what it is, for grandans, because we all know the length of the beach. And if something occurs in one end and the police is at the other end, we know that a lot could happen before the police gets there. So the Ministry of Tourism, we saw it fit, working with the private sector to purchase that vehicle so that the police and the task force that is there can get to a site very quickly. And the other thing that we're hoping to do very, very soon is to also contract out the service for the lifeguards at Grandlands and Bathway as well.
That was Tourism Minister Honorable Clarence Modeste Cohen. Grenada is on the final preparatory leg of implementing its national quality policy as it envisions the adoption of a quality culture by 2030. On Tuesday, the Bureau of Standards and the Ministry of Trade met with stakeholders to consult and make final amendments to the draft National Quality Policy. The policy document is geared towards promoting quality, safe, sustainable goods and services which are in keeping with international standards. Chairman of the Project Steering Committee, Permanent Secretary Aaron Francois, says Grenada has met the deadline for the draft document and will be moving ahead full force to implement. He explained that developing states like Grenada face several challenges which hinder their ability to effectively engage in trade.
Despite the hundreds of trillions of dollars worth of trade that is taking place globally, developing countries, our region, still face daunting challenges in accessing those globalized markets. In addition to financial, management, logistics, and the skills challenges that we face, there is also the need to have access to supportive and internationally recognized quality infrastructure that can provide the independent verification of the quality of products and services, without which access to the international market is difficult.
Francois says trade contributes to at least 80% of the country's GDP, with total exports in 2017 amounting to $81.12 million and total imports for the same year being $1.13 billion. He adds that once the policy is implemented, Grenada will be able to boast of a developed, accessible, affordable, internationally recognized, demand-oriented infrastructure.
The policy envisions, and I quote, that by 2030, Grenada will have a quality culture where all producers and service providers ensure they meet regulatory and sustainability requirements and satisfy consumer needs.
The National Quality Policy is consistent with the 2035 National Sustainable Development Plan. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Did you join the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985, and have since retired? This might be important to you. Government understands that the NIS pension may be insufficient to take care of your needs. So, while it awaits the court's ruling on the matter of pension for public officers, government has taken action to protect your quality of life so that you can take care of your needs in the meantime. Persons who joined the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985, and served continuously in an established position for a minimum 26 years and 8 months, and retired at age 60, may be eligible to receive an advance payment, which when combined with NIS, represents 70% of their last salary. For more information, call or visit the Pension Secretariat in the Department of Public Administration, Ministerial Complex, 440-3767.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Agriculture plans to utilize extension assistance and fishing assistance to assist beneficiaries of climate-smart agricultural projects to ensure maximum benefits. They will help beneficiaries develop proposals that can be submitted for funding. We get more in this report from Karima Lewis.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands is the implementing agent for Component 2 of the Climate Smart and Rural Enterprise Program, CIEP, and tasked with the responsibility of encouraging good agricultural practices. The Ministry will be deploying its Extension Assistants, EAs, and Fishing Assistants, FAs, to offer technical advice and support. The focus of CIEP is to develop initiatives within the rural communities of Grenada and under Component 2, which focuses on climate smart agriculture, CSA. The aim is to enhance the socio-economic development of the rural communities, to improve food security, and to create jobs for the young people. A $32.4 million loan from the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, and the Government of Grenada has been secured for the funding of the CSA grant, farm roads, irrigation, vocational skills training, investment business development, and administration. Unit Coordinator for CSA and agronomists within the Ministry of Agriculture, Gabriel Clark, explains that potential beneficiaries for the CSA grant must submit a proposal to be considered for funding, and added that EAs and FAs will help with the development of the proposals.
The
extension officers, both fisheries and agriculture, will be equipped with necessary skills and knowledge to facilitate that process. So the extension officers will be facilitating the development of the proposals. Now, once these proposals are submitted, there's a selection committee, a grant financing selection committee, who also have to look at the proposal, or projects, quote unquote, and determine whether or not those proposals fit within the schemes of the CSA principle.
A total of 180 projects will be funded under this grant financing initiative, with 160 coming from small farmers, commercial farmers and fishers, and 20 from backyard gardeners. Clark explains each of the potential beneficiaries will have to contribute a percentage of the total cost of their project.
In the case of the backyard gardeners, they will have to contribute 5% in kind or cash. Now, cash, we know what cash means, but the kind means that if you have whatever resources, whatever inputs that you may have, tools, that is considered to be kind. Even your labor is also considered to be in kind. Now, we also have that category called small farmers. So you have the backyard gardeners who can receive up to 1,000. The small farmers can receive up to 8,000 US. And they will be entitled to contribute 10%. 5% in cash, 5% in kind. Then you also have the category of commercial farmers. And these commercial farmers, they will can receive up to 30,000 US, but they will have to make 20% contribution, 10% in cash, 10% in kind.
The ministry, as the implementing agent for the CSA, will ensure that those projects submitted are of the highest quality and can meet the objective of food security, poverty alleviation, and job creation. To do this, Clark says EAs and FAs will be there to offer technical support.
So not only can they benefit from the material or finances that the project can offer to them, but also they can benefit from the technical support. And hence the reason why the ministry is so important in that particular scheme of things, because the Ministry of Agriculture is the only ministry or institution that have the capacity to provide agricultural technical support to the farming community. There is no other institution that can do that. So that's why the Ministry of Agriculture is central in ensuring that we achieve the goal in regards to climate-smart agriculture. So the extension officers are the foot soldiers to provide those kind of technical support.
The beneficiaries will not be receiving cash, but whatever money is qualified for will be paid directly to the service providers. This 6-year project is expected to come to an end in 2024. For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Karima Lois.
That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, October 30th. Let's recap the top story. Grenada to work with Caribbean neighbor to enhance visitor experience at tourist attraction sites. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.